Hello, everyone. It's Rory back again from that Eurovision site, and I am so grateful and so happy to be joined by Emma and Jordan, who are going to be participating in ESCZ 2022. Ahoy!
Hello, Rory. Hi.
Hi, Rory.
Ahoy.
Hi. How are you, Yakshimash?
Wow, you're a professional.
Oh.
We can leave the interview in Czech if you prefer.
Oh.
We are great. Thanks for asking. We are great. We're freezing. We've just spoken about the weather before you started recording for everyone else. So we'll just repeat it. It's snowing, raining in the same time. And so, yeah, we're going to spend these days and the next few weeks in this kitchen where we're sitting right now with the heating on. But we're fine. And we're really excited to be part of this adventure, I would say. And thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. Obviously, your schedule must be absolutely mental at the moment with the amount of sort of interviews and rehearsals and everything else that's sort of been going on. Your song this year is called By Now. Could you just sort of walk us through what like the message of the song is and what it means to you?
Jordan will tell you because he wrote it. I understood the question.
Right. Yeah. You mean lyrically, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
What is the story about? So it's I actually wrote the lyrics for this one in or at or on Bali.
Mm-hmm.
What do you use for Bali?
On the island called
island called Bali.
Mm-hmm. In Indonesia.
Yeah, in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And so we happened to be in Indonesia last year in January. And when we got to Bali, the borders, it was this year actually, the borders got closed, and among the other borders of every single country in the world, you know, the whole world turned into lockdown mode, and we found ourselves being on Bali with Balinese people mainly, and something you'd call like internet nomads, like people who don't live in their home countries, and they have decided for some reasons to be on the island, you know, for a longer period, not like tourists. And I was watching these people every morning, you know, being on this island for years, and just, you know, leaving behind all these troubles with parents they may have had, you know, in their home country, these relationships that didn't go as planned, these ambitions and schools they had to study and they didn't want to, you know, leaving all this behind and just going to this island with like zero opportunity to climb up that pyramid of like ambitions, like Western world ambitions, but, you know, but focusing on something else and that may be way more important, and it's like healing their heart and finding their inner peace. And I was fascinated by it, and I saw this like this tiny melancholy thing in their eyes, you know, maybe thinking in the morning, like by watching the ocean and surfing and being like, you know, with this amazing color on their body from the sun and everything, being super happy, meeting people. But there was this thing I was like, I kept thinking like maybe there's someone they left behind who may write them a letter, and if he would, that letter would sound like this, and it would be the song. It would be like the hurry, the money that you left behind, all this. Like, how are you doing now when you're gone? Did you manage to heal your heart? And that's basically it's a letter. It's a love letter from someone from the past.
Yeah, I need to learn this wonderful description of what it is, because yesterday I was sitting in the podcast of the Czech editor-in-chief of Forbes, and so first of all he thought you wrote the song for me. He thought it was your questions addressed to me, and second, when I explained,
but you never left.
No.
And you should leave.
I didn't. But yeah, maybe he was trying to I don't know, insinuate I should. But then when I tried this, what you just did, to explain what it was about, I said at one point, yeah, basically it's about somebody who leaves this place, this part of the world, this you know, hierarchy of values, these Forbes values, and he didn't seem that pleased with the answer. So
oh wow.
Yeah, next time you go.
Actually, it's the first time. This is the first time I was putting it in in words in English.
Yeah.
So I hope it made some sense.
Yeah, sorry
No.
for both of us being neurotic, because we do think we speak a bit of English, but I'm half Czech, half French. He's half Czech, half Israeli.
Yeah.
And English has never really been our, professional language. Like I've been a journalist for 8 years, so I did do some interviews with in English. Billie Eilish, for instance.
Oh,
You can find
wow.
that on YouTube. Yeah. But we're never that comfortable in English. So sorry for that.
I'm not used to talk about music in English.
No, your English is absolutely fantastic. Your English is far better than what my Czech could ever be. So it's totally okay. Don't worry about it. No, but it sounded so like interesting, that the way that it was like a love letter to these sort of people in the past that have kind of gone off in their own sort of direction almost. It's something that you don't really hear too much about in music nowadays, I guess. So it's very interesting just to hear about what you mean.
Well, thank you. I think it comes to what my background is. Like, I mean, musically, because I grew up on songwriters, storytellers, like telling the stories is more important than, for me, in writing a song, than almost anything else. Like I'm a guy of lyrics.
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
She's a
all I care about.
person.
Well, I grew up on the Beatles, and their lyrics are shit. Let's be honest. So I'm looking for the musical part of stuff in music, which is why I think it's called music and not poetry. Well, he's the poet.
So. Yeah, I'm coming from a background of songwriters, and I really like.
Yeah.
And it has to do something with me growing up in Israel when being teenage boy, because like Israeli music, not the traditional Israeli music. I don't mean like Jewish or Arab music, traditional music. I mean like Israeli pop has always been about lyrics. It's like you have like lyrically valuable songs in the mainstream radios. Like everyone is a songwriter.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I grew up on this. Like if you write a song, it has to mean something for you. It has to tell a story. So
yeah, definitely. And it sort of complements really well then, because obviously you're the lyricist and then Emma is the musician. It's almost as if it's like a perfect sort of mix of the two, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the slight detail that he is a much better musician than I am as well. But
no, but I'm well, I'm not a singer. I'm not even a singer. I wouldn't call myself a singer. I'm so like me singing perfectly and in tune like you do, like that's something I can never.
Got a better.
She's got a better ear for music, like way better. I mean, like way
when
better.
We met, which was 13 years ago, he was basically deaf.
Yeah, I was musically deaf. I became a musician
like
on the way.
Yeah, but you're living proof of something I never believed in, which is you really can be deaf, and 13 years later be writing amazing songs and even singing them. And from a national perspective point of view, I think the Czech audience prefers his voice to mine because it's much more interesting. So I in theory I would need less auto-tune than he does. But then when you're patient enough to do, the same recording 50 times, we
never did any recording 50 times.
Okay,
because
so 20. Oh yeah, right. Never 20 times. And every 20th try is all right. So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, it sounds great. It actually makes sense. It actually kind of goes into my next question, really, because you have different sort of careers almost, like Emma, you said you're a journalist, also like a musician and all of these things, and then obviously Jordan now working in music too, and this time you've kind of collaborated together. Obviously, was it easy or was it hard to kind of work together professionally in this kind of sense?
Well, it may get a little rough in the studio sometimes for a little while, but then again we're so honest with each other, and we are like so fast with like dealing with stuff that we may get into a fight that would escalate like quite quickly, but would go away as quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the only hard part, like these little fights in the studio, but we would have them with anyone. You know what I mean? Like it's part of the process.
And I think the fact that we actually make music is something that we partly owe to each other, both of us, because I wouldn't dare trying this path in my life if it wasn't for him pushing me to do it, because he knew me well enough after a few weeks of this relationship going on to say, okay, so you're this political science student, you're this serious person, you've got this father who was a manager and producer and who was the head of the biggest rock club in Paris, and who has told you everything there is bad to say about the musical environment
and about rock and roll.
And he wants you to be this, academically and intellectually ambitious and successful person. That's nice, but you will finish your great studies at some point. And when I finished my second master's degree, it was him who told me this, I would say, key information that, all right, so you've just passed the contract with your parents, you've done what was expected, now you should at least try to do what you actually really love and are passionate about. So I would never really get angry with him.
Listen to your heart.
Right. So I would never be angry with him when it comes to music, because I don't think I would be doing it professionally instead of just playing here in the kitchen with on that piano just for myself, which could have been a possibility. And when it comes to him, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be singing, because
I wouldn't, because I wouldn't know when I'm off tune. No, really. I mean, like, it took me a while to become a musician, and now I can call myself a musician, I guess. But it took me a while.
Well, there's that, and then there's the theatre school. There's a fantastic Academy of Drama in Prague that he studied, and I was
meant to be an actor.
He was meant to. Well,
I am
an
actor actually.
And a director, and he's great at that. And and you got some singing teacher in there.
Wow.
So there were several people who believed in you and your music future. But
I always tried to sing right, and it didn't go. Like, I listened to this guy, your fella, not really yours, but I mean. He's what is he, Irish? No, he's.
I don't know who you're talking about.
He's from Scotland.
Say his name.
Paolo Nutini.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Paolo Nutini. Yeah, he's from Scotland. Yeah.
I listened to Paolo Nutini like 4 years ago, I think, and he had this broken voice that I happen to have actually from nature, and I was like, he just sings like with the voice he has.
Yeah, the same illness.
Same illness in the voice, and I was like. I'll just sing like that, like I'll just sing, even it sounds broken. And then I kind of like it was magical. I kind of found my color, in my found the color in my voice. And people ask me about like how you do that voice, like this broken voice. But I can sing differently. I can't really. It's like when I try to sing normally, like sing. It's
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to commit to your natural self, and if that's how your voice sounds, then that's perfect, and it complements the song so well. I have to say, like, listening to it, it's just like I don't think I could hear it in any other way, really. So I think it works so well together, really. So what sort of made you decide to enter ESCZ?
Oh, that's interesting. It's a long story, actually. There's few things. There is the personal relationship with, Eurovision of each of us, like, which is different because me growing up in Israel, it was more about like it's a national thing. It's a big thing. It's like because of many reasons. Because it's even like political reasons. It's like Israel used to they won Eurovision a few times, right? Yeah, in the past, and it became sort of something super important, like in terms of belonging to the European context, culturally, at least, if not geographically. So in Israel, it's a big thing. Everybody likes Eurovision. Everyone, like every family watches Eurovision. It's more than a contest. It's a celebration of music. It's a festival. It's a thing. So I grew up on this, like this. That was my point of view, and then there is yours with your father, watching.
My father. Well, can I be honest?
Be as honest as you want to be.
Okay. So from the perspective of my dad, which I shared for a long time, this contest was a kind of, circus parade
with a lot of bizarre,
with a lot of bizarre.
We're talking 90s here.
Yeah, weirdos, too much lights, too many colors, totally tasteless, etc. And from
not everything, but it was like there were these
Well, this is what it used to be famous for, right?
Exactly.
And, and my father being this true rocker, underground person who used to work with, I don't know, Iggy Pop, the Pretenders, and everything that is all but mainstream. He had a guilty pleasure kind of relationship with
Eurovision. Yeah.
And he used to watch it together, having a good laugh, right?
There's something I didn't tell you. He was invited to be the jury of some kind of national version of this in France.
Really?
And he refused, of course, because it was way below anything he could be interested in. So if he was alive, I think we would have a serious discussion about this. I'm not sure he would agree. But on the other hand, he would admit it's fun. He would admit it's a good starting point to try to get to, audiences abroad outside of the Czech Republic. He would agree it's a contest that has evolved in the recent years, because there's a few countries like Slovenia, which we feel keep sending really amazing music and amazingly interesting interprets that are
like
not
indie pop.
Yeah, that are really not typical for Eurovision, and that are probably not the most noted. Some of them didn't even make it to the final for obvious reasons, which is why we don't think we are going to win this, national stage of the competition, because we've seen the first reactions and we understand that we're the most boring people in that, in
give
that
yourself
group.
Some credit.
Yeah, we do have a few, advantages or stuff that we are proud of, but we don't think we are the most unexpected act that is being offered in that, national selection. But already now we can see that there's tens or hundreds of people outside the Czech Republic who would probably never come across our name or our music.
And they did now, and it's like this part of the process, like this week and something of voting is, in some sense, it's like it's a turning point in our musical career, because no matter how it's gonna end up, and I don't really think we're gonna win that, it's already amazing. Because like for me, I left Israel when I was 18, and I was far from even starting to do music. And now I just gathered the courage, having the opening sentence to start a dialogue with like Israeli crowd, like Israeli audience, So I went to these Facebook groups of, thousands of people, some like Eurovision fans in Israel. And I wrote a message in Hebrew. I thought I will never be able to write like, "Hi, I'm Jordan, I'm half Israeli. I once left Israel and I started my musical career here in Europe. You have never heard about me, but I think you should know I'm half Israeli, competing now in the Czech Republic to be part of the Eurovision, to be a delegate. And I'll be just glad to chat with you guys, and I'll be just I'm here to answer your questions." And people started reacting, and I started communicating with Israeli audience that has been some sort of like a chip on my shoulder, all this time, like never making it in Israel, starting this whole thing that is the most important that happened like career-wise in my life, starting it after I left. So this is already something very important. And going back to your question about like why we have decided to participate in this whole thing is there is something that happened like 3 years ago, I think, or 4 years ago, when Lake Malawi was participating, and it took place in Tel Aviv. And me and my cousin as directors made a music video for Lake Malawi for this song.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the one with like all these that looked like an Instagram feed, and he was like
the proper music video.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite videos that we did. And
it looked fantastic. I remember watching it back in 2019. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. They should have done this the whole time.
So they asked us to make a video for him even before they knew they're gonna participate.
Yeah, there's something he cannot say, but himself and his cousin are like the best directing
Not the
duo
best,
for
but
music videos in this country. Yes, you are. Go on. You are. They are. Yeah.
So anyway, and part of the deal was that if they go to Tel Aviv to represent Czech Republic, we will be able to go with them for a vacation and go see the show. So we flew into Tel Aviv with Lake Malawi, like both of us.
Yeah, I invited myself. Yeah, I had no,
that's the best
whatsoever.
way to do it.
She was already in the game with me for a while, maybe 10 years already, right? So we 10 years and one kid already.
Back then, 3 years ago. Yeah. We already have 2 daughters now.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Anyway, we arrived in Tel Aviv. We spent an amazing week or so in Tel Aviv, and we attended the evening. We attended the show, the 2 shows, like the 2 evenings, and we were just like blown away by how well done and amazing production that was. And there was something, I think, in us. We didn't say it back then. We didn't even think it back then. But in the subconscious, there was something in the musicians within, in us that were just like saying, well, like, this is the best stage to perform. This is like the most amazing television way of performing, like, because we do a lot of performance like in the telly and on stage, and doing tours around here, but it was sort of like that's like the maximum we can.
Plus,
and it was so well done, like the whole evening.
And I just recall there's something I haven't said yet, but the commitment of the audience was also totally crazy. It was really as euphoric as when we play in a small club in Prague for 200 people who are the first ones to go and buy tickets for the like the biggest fans we've ever had. And at this event you had thousands of people who were all in this stream of energy and totally ecstatic.
Well, that's something that should be pointed out, because like for me the whole Eurovision thing is more than it's about competing, is about like this strong energy of love for music and for the acts. Because I don't really see anyone like in the thousands of millions of people who are committed to watch and follow everything around the Eurovision. Like there's nothing hateful, never. Because maybe I just don't know about it. But no. I mean, like being there in Tel Aviv, it was like these people just love everything. And every artist who comes here, they just like they welcome everyone, and they're ready to listen to every song, and they're like, they're really committed. And and that was maybe that was like some kind of starting point of like starting to think about maybe one day taking part in this whole thing.
It reminded me, obviously you had noted about Slovenia, for example, and then going to Tel Aviv. That was when I don't know if you remember there at the time, it was Zala and Gashper. They had like a song called Sebi.
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
Very similar, I thought, like your story almost. And they were also like in a very close relationship as are you. It's almost as if you are the Czech Zala Gashper now.
Oh,
that's a very nice thing of you to say.
That's a very nice thing of you to say, because we do listen to this song still. It's still in my playlist.
Yeah, I listen to it on a very regular basis. So it's a fantastic song, and I will also be adding your song onto my playlist as well, of course.
Well, thank you.
So I guess
but if you could please do one thing for us, if you could find maybe 3 or 4 more songs of ours, we would love it, because that's the only thing that makes me worried, is whether people actually realize, that this is the song we are sending to the contest.
But then there's the other songs.
But then there's the others that we are not less proud of than this one.
Of course. I mean, this offers the chance for more people to sort of look at your discography and other like songs that you've done, and you might find a lot more support now. And I think that's very likely. You have both got such fantastic music individually and together now as well. So it's fantastic.
We'll be going on a European tour next year. So no matter how this goes or doesn't, I mean the Eurovision adventure, we would really love you to come to our gig, because we'll be touring around Europe, either for 20 people in small cafes and clubs, and Czechs living abroad and their colleagues from work, or European fans. We'll see.
Yeah,
definitely. If you're ever coming to Manchester, I will definitely book a ticket. 100%.
Great.
So
we'll
so
give
I guess,
you one.
of course, no,
Yeah.
I will definitely come, of course. So I guess, what would it mean if you managed to win ESCZ, if that happens? What would it mean for you to sort of represent Czechia at Eurovision?
Well, I can't really imagine that
No.
yet. But it would mean a lot. Of course, it would mean a lot. It would mean like we wouldn't do it if it's not something that can potentially mean a lot, because I don't think we are the kind of people to do things that wouldn't mean a lot to us.
No.
So
I think we would be very proud, very nervous about not embarrassing our, the country itself.
Right.
We would maybe start taking singing lessons for that
and dancing
purpose.
lessons.
And dancing lessons. Well, he's the dancer. And I think we would tour around the continent even before May, because we would think that it is important to really get in touch with the local audiences all around.
Yeah.
Because the idea of having people discover us only through, one song, one stage, one evening, I think it would deserve a broader approach, maybe. But as we've said, we really cannot, picture ourselves in that scenario. But if it happens, we'll be in shock, and then we'll be hardworking and looking forward and extremely proud.
Definitely.
I don't want to. Yeah, I can't help but I keep picturing the staging, and I have thousands of ideas about how to do the staging, because like what do you guys have seen? Apart from the music video that we did, you have seen also like a live performance for the Czech television that
we saw the rehearsal that
it's
you
sort
had
of
done.
like the same kind of setup for everyone, and someone has already made like a choreography, like Alice, right?
Yeah, she was. She so did
it already looks like something that it may look like.
Well, I think after seeing the official music video, I thought it was probably the same choreography.
So it's already the act.
To several places.
Apart from being the song, it's already the act. And in our case, it is not. It was like a performance.
Yeah, we
in
flew
this
in
setup
from Paris at 10 a.m. and we were in the studio at 11 or 11:30.
Starting to
wow.
They told us, okay, so you can make it 5 times, and then you'll have to choose, one take.
So for this one, we didn't come with like something ready in terms of, staging, and like so there is so much space left there's room to improve the show and to like So I keep imagining, ideas about
like the cameras and like, oh, I'm gonna stand here, I'm gonna do this thing, and then like big kind of power stance.
Yeah, but especially in these last 2 years of Corona, there is so many new ideas and ways of how to perform in front of camera. Like, do you remember all these like, acceptance awards, like Grammys, I think it was, or like where there wasn't like a real crowd to perform for, and it gave so much new space for new ideas of how to stage things, how to perform them. Like, so there's like so many ways it can go, and it's like, it would be exciting to do it. And the team of the people working on it here in Czech Republic is amazing. It's like the best people for staging.
So no matter who goes, they'll
like,
be surrounded by the best professionals this country has to offer. So that's also a great thing for the contest itself.
Definitely, and it just goes to show how committed sort of Czech artists are, and Czech sort of technological people and everything. It's like a fantastic opportunity to show off what Czech people have to offer, really, isn't it? So just as like a final question, like, do you have a little like a message to our viewers, just as a, or maybe a plea to vote, to like try and make that a reality, maybe, or?
Well, if someone was listening until this point, I think the whole thing together can be a message. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I can like really put it into one sentence. I'll be really glad to be part of this thing.
No, my message
For
is
the reason that
a
I've
big
already
thank
said.
you to those who've listened to this, because the internet has a lot to offer, and there's many albums and books you could have listened to or, you know, read instead. So thank you so much for the time we've decided to spend with, you know,
The three of us here.
Yeah. We really,
I mean, we really enjoy talking to you. It's not a,
no.
As you said, like I'm not even used to talk in English about music or about our art.
Yeah. Well, by all means, I mean, I'm always free for a good conversation about music or anything like that. So by all means, if you have anything else that you need to run past, if you need a third opinion, I'm here.
All right.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dekuye. And obviously, good luck in the contest. I'm no doubt you're going to have a fantastic time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much and best of luck. See you
You
later.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.